before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box. These are facts.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness. It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box. These are facts.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness. It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box. These are facts.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness. It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box. These are facts.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness. It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box. These are facts.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness. It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box. These are facts.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness. It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box. These are facts.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness. It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box. These are facts.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness. It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box. These are facts.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness. It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box. These are facts.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness. It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box. These are facts.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness. It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box. These are facts.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness. It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box.
These are facts.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness. It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box.
These are facts.
Properties. Let's get the mic working and check 1 2 1 2. The microphone is now working. How are we doing? Happy Monday, happy weekend. Hope you guys did well. Welcome back to Gaming Daily Live. My name is Icy Gaming. It is Monday, February 23rd, and boy, oh boy, do we have a lot to talk about. As always, not only was the weekend jam-packed with news, today has been jam-packed with news. Crypto gaming is, we're going to try and save crypto gaming today, guys. We have a very, very special episode. We have Justin Waldron, one of the co-founders of Zynga, coming on the show today with a banger of an interview. I am so excited. He's going to be telling us all about Play.Fun. I believe that they are on Solana, maybe exclusively right now, but they'll be expanding to other things in the future. Justin is one of the most decorated, respected, accomplished names in all of gaming. He's a literal legend, so it's really an honor to have him on the show today. We're going to get to that in just a little bit, but before we do, we got to thank the incredible sponsors that make this show possible. YGG, of course, Yield Guild Games, and YGG Play, their publishing company, publishing games like Giga Chad Bat, Waifu Sweeper, Lowland. And today's quest of the day is for Waifu Sweeper, where you can jump in, buy the 5 spindle bundle from the NFT shop, and complete that quest. Big shout out to YGG. Thank you guys for being an incredible sponsor of the show, as well as all of our other sponsors: Sequence, SoulForge Fusion, B3, AI Rev, and of course your boy Gaming Daily. Big shout out to everybody in the chat. Llama here, AE in the building. We got the Twitch working. I said I would do it, and we did it. So appreciate you guys for being here. Let's just jump right into the show because we have so much to talk about before we get to Justin. And oh boy, I cannot wait for the Justin interview. It's going to be incredible. So without further ado, let's just talk about it, man. Big news. I mean, talk about like not only just gaming, but AI is insane to keep up with. We're not going to spend too much time on this, but just real quick, like shout out to eJazz just over, sharing the weekend news. It's just crazy. Sharing the recap of the week. Microsoft pioneered a way to store data on glass that apparently stores data up to 10,000 years, and it's way cheaper than silica. What? Thales fused an AI model directly into silicon, processing 17,000 tokens per second, which is 17 times faster than OpenAI's quickest model, but 10 times cheaper than the NVIDIA Blackwell GPUs. So more compute at cheaper costs. Insane. Apple is releasing 3 new AI devices: glasses, AirPods, cameras. Anthropic wiped $10 billion off the stock market after launching their AI that finds and helps fixes security flaws. The Pentagon threatened to blacklist them. XAI dropped Grok 4.2 or 420 with 16 specialized AI agents. A cardiologist won 3rd place in Anthropic's hackathon after vibe coding an app that helps his patients understand and act on their medical results. China announced a cure for diabetes 1 and 2 after creating stem cells. Moonshot Labs raised $500 million immediately after raising $700 million. This is just insane, dude. Like, what? It's insane. It's absolutely insane. And then we had this article go viral over the weekend. This like doomer, bear case for AI, 6.6 million views in like 24 hours, a little over 24 hours. Everybody was posting about this. I'm sure you guys saw this on your timeline. Here's a quick summary from SpaceXBT. We're not going to spend time talking about this or going over it all, but it's just like, the bear case, important to note, it was a thought experiment written from the perspective of June 2028 and looking back at how AI triggered a full-blown economic crisis, not because AI failed because it worked too well, but because the core loop is brutal and honestly hard to argue against. Oh, not because AI failed, but because it worked too well. So the idea was, AI gets better, companies cut headcount, they displace workers, everyone basically loses their job, consumer demand drops, and companies lean harder into AI to protect their margins, rinse and repeat. And it's just a step-by-step walkthrough about how it plays out. If you understand human nature, you can pretty much foresee what will happen. Yeah, it is crazy. 13 trillion in residential mortgages threatened by just structural unemployment. The labor's share of GDP collapses from 64% to 46%, which in regular numbers, 64 to 46, not that big. But when we're talking about the labor share of GDP, that is absolutely massive. And UBI is where a lot of this stuff kind of goes. The S&P drops, the model or the thought experiment said the S&P drops 38% in their model unemployment. Unemployment will hit over 10%. So crazy, definitely a good read. But there's also the counter take where people are like, dude, all this doomer porn, AI doomer porn. It's I don't know. I'm pretty bullish on humans, and humanity. So, on the good news though, Dith said that if that does play out, and it is definitely dramatized, it does expand the TAM, the total addressable market for gaming. So, there you go. Especially RPGs and MMOs. So all roads lead to gaming, guys. That's always been the thesis. Let's move on, guys. We got a lot to talk about. So we're just going to kind of go through some of these things. Daya, thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Welcome. Dude, imagine making such a great game that you get hired as CEO of Nexon, because that is exactly what has happened to, the creators of Arc Raiders. Patrick Sutherland has, now been put into charge as Nexon. Crazy. He's CEO of Nexon. Amazing. Arc Raiders is so dope. And I don't know if you guys saw, but huge content pack updates coming tomorrow to Arc Raiders. They've got new Arc enemies. There's a new weather event. There's a hurricane storm coming to the Rust Belt, which, you guys can't really see it out my window, but we got hit by a blizzard today. There was 2 feet of snow. It was absolutely disgusting and brutal out. Moving on, guys, shout out to Jacob Novak. He did a really good report and breakdown of the gaming, the state of gaming in 2025. We're going to touch on that in just a minute, but kind of coming off of the some of the Xbox news last week on Friday, the president and CEO stepping down. Jacob Novak says that he strongly suspects within the next 3 years that Microsoft will actually sell or spin off Activision Blizzard, Bethesda ZeniMax, and King. He says he believes they'll keep Minecraft, but he cannot imagine that the prediction that Microsoft made for games in 2018 when they started, their current strategy of growth through studios matches with their needs for an AI future. He says he mentioned this in one of his threads last year, but every dollar that Microsoft had invested into games would have been better invested into AI. It's so interesting to think about because, like, it's true. Like, at this point right now, these companies, Microsoft, NVIDIA, I mean, this is how NVIDIA became one of the most successful companies, most valued companies in the world, right? It started from gaming, but everything that they built in gaming can be used for AI, and now they're becoming way more of an AI company. So, you see Google, OpenAI, Claude, Facebook, Apple's the only one that's like not. Amazon's investing into AI massively. Apple's the only one just kind of waiting right now, and benefiting from that operating expenses. We got a post from Reese quote tweeting Jacob Novak, so we're gonna look at that in a second. But he says, "Ding, ding, ding! Jacob gets it. That's why Sony and Microsoft have pivoted so hard. You may hate it, but these decisions are based on data, not on gamers complaining on social media." He says younger people aren't playing AAA games, but they are on Roblox, Fortnite, etc. And if they aren't, then that attention is being diverted away by apps like TikTok. We are in an attention war. Everyone is fighting for that attention. And right now it's like gaming kind of isn't it, kids these days, they don't care about AAA. Actually, this tweet is like so good. He says kids today have access to more games than I can ever imagine for way cheaper than what the cartridge costs, but the kids don't care, Does he say it here? I quote tweeted it. I think it's a second tweet. He says kids aren't playing on consoles, right? It's for old people, like PlayStation and these things are for old people. And he says Roblox for kids these days is like YouTube for them. There's a very strong connection between YouTube and Roblox. When you're growing up on Mr. Beast and YouTubers and unboxing videos and dumb brain rot, AI slop video feeds, Roblox is their interactive social version of that. So Roblox are where kids are going. Minecraft are where kids are going for, not only to play games, to hang out with their friends and like have that social media, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube culture in their games. So maybe it's a little bit of Fortnite and Roblox, but like other than that, it's like that's it. Very, very interesting trends to pay attention to. Shout out to wob.eth from Sappy Seals. They've been building a Roblox game because like they saw this and understood it and went that direction because of those reasons. Speaking of AI in video games, we got this clip from Shroud saying that, with a very hot take that I wanted to share while we're talking about AI, crypto, and gaming, the convergence of AI and gaming. Let's see what the GOAT Shroud has to say.
I'm going to say something that's going to be a crazy take, but bear with me for a second. This is going to be the craziest take I ever had. I'm hoping that AI gets so good that, because like right now, when you see a bot, it's a bot in a video game, right? You're like, oh, that's clearly not real. This is going to be a crazy take. I hope that AI gets so good that it mimics players almost to a T that you can't tell if they're real or not, so that every game will always feel like it's real. In the back of your mind, you're going to psychologically know that like there's a very good chance some of this isn't real because AI's gotten so good. But the plus side of it feeling that way is more games that would normally die because they need players to play would actually be playable. Okay. Like imagine a world where bots in a game actually feel like real people to the point where you literally can't tell. Every game would feel alive.
I'm so torn on this. I'm so torn on it because it's like I don't want to play games with bots, right? Like when I was playing Call of Duty Mobile and like it got to a point where there weren't enough players and it was just littered with bots, and I was like, it really ruined the experience for me. Now, having said that, I don't want to play games with bots and feel like I'm playing games with bots. If you could not tell and you didn't know and you had the same level of fun and excitement and dopamine and like thrill and enjoyment, then I think that's good. And I can see where Shroud is coming from. And I'm inclined to agree with him. However, it's like the enjoyment of, listen, don't get mad at me, guys. I swear I'm not a toxic gamer, but I play Arc Raiders with Crypto Gorilla, and him and I are the same. Like, there is an enjoyment of winning a battle and knowing that, like, someone on the other side is feeling the pain that you feel when you lose a fight or a gunfight. And it's just a part of gaming, right? So it's like, if that's not happening, if there aren't humans on the other side, I just feel like it would be the dead internet theory, the dead gaming theory. Like, I don't know. There's something also very dystopian about that where, sure, you're having fun, but like you're having fun alone. Like, there isn't that connection, There's a reason why listening to songs on the radio like feels different than listening to songs just on, your phone or like YouTube or whatnot. There is something special about knowing that other people are experiencing the same thing that you're experiencing. And if we get to a point where gaming is just like you alone in this like metaverse, this dystopian gaming world, it's a little sad because you don't have that human connection. But let me know what you guys think, but we got to move on because we got so much to talk about. We have so much to talk about. Listen, all that AI stuff, all this stuff, like, dude, give me this. We were talking about the Pokemon Pokopia game. Like, this is the Pokemon game that I want, dude. I am with this guy. Like, this is the world. That's the game I want to play. I am with this guy. This also had like 300,000 views. Anyways, we're going to keep it going, guys. Let's talk about crypto gaming. How can we save crypto gaming? Listen, if anyone can save crypto gaming, it could be our guest who's coming on the show in about 20 minutes. But it could also be this guy right here, Limit Break, Gabriel Layden, App Tokens. App Tokens could be the model that saves crypto gaming. Last year, they introduced App Tokens Limit Break AMM. That's automated market maker, and the idea of programmable markets. Since then, they've been preparing that system for an open review, and they've got a public audit that begins today. It's live right now, and they have set aside $150,000 for a public audit. This is great. Go in, audit the contracts, find bugs, find, this is like white hacker stuff. Review the code base. And let's stress test this baby and get rewarded for it. Absolute love to see it. We've been tracking Limit Break for a long time, and we want to see them win. Gabriel Layden says that he's coming very close to fully rewriting crypto. Gabe Layden, obviously the founder of Limit Break, gaming legend. If you know, you know. And very exciting, very exciting. I track this stuff like a hawk, so tune into Gaming Daily because I like to share it with you guys as well. Speaking of crypto gaming and what we need, shout out to Memento hitting us with 3 shifts that he is seeing in crypto gaming in early 2026 so far. And I'm curious, I want to know if you guys can spot any of these shifts in the upcoming news that we're going to cover, because we've got a lot of news that I think like kind of revolves around some of these shifts. He says teams moving away from utility tokens, number 1. Number 2, a rebrand from crypto to rewarded play. I've been tracking this rewarded play concept for a while. Sugartown was actually the early one that like kind of coined that phrase, at least as far as I'm aware. But we've seen more and more kind of move towards rewarded play, and I think it's very interesting. And then he says, number 3, more experiments for a Web 2 go-to-market. Very cool, very interesting. I mean, I think we need way more experiments. I agree we are seeing some, but like bruh, give me more like traditional Web2 marketing and then talk about it. Share it with us. Give us these case studies. I'm actually very interested to talk to Justin Waldron about this coming up very soon. Guys, I think the story of the weekend, the story of the week for crypto gaming has been Grand Arena. I cannot get Grand Arena out of my feed. Congratulations to Hantao. Congratulations to Moku. I think we've got Hantao scheduled for Wednesday, so we can talk to him about this. I'll be curious to see how large this number grows over the next 2-3 days. They've done $1 million since like Thursday or something like that in revenue. Absolutely insane. For real this time? I hope so, Llama. I hope so. One would hope. A guy, Twitter account in a dream. Brit.Ron in the chat, such a smooth launch of the fantasy layer. It has been incredible to see everyone dive in, talk about their strategy. I think Min invested like 20K in the first 24 hours, and I'm sure he's like done more. So big shout out to Min. I think he was like topping the leaderboard. He was doing really well there. I saw so many people talking about Grand Arena, which is really, really awesome. We got to keep it moving though, guys. We are going to be short on time today. Gigaverse went live with their anniversary prize pool. It's been going really well so far. It's up over $50,000, which is insane. Their prize pot is over $28,000. They also added another $10,000 over, when did they do this? I think on Friday or Saturday. It's just been going so well. So congrats to them. Very cool to see. I mean, if you're into these games, there's actually a lot going on. Like Gigaverse, Grand Arena, Moku keep you busy. Also, very interesting development. Gigaverse introduced pay to nerf. If your enemy is too tough, you can actually pay 50 cents to nerf their stats in half. And he says over $2,000 has been paid from players to players in the first 36 hours. And some players have already received passively $50. And we have a review here from AIZ. He says he was skeptical at first, thinking who would even pay to nerf others in an async PvP mode? But hot damn, the number of players nerfing is crazy. The best part, every player getting nerfed is earning gigabit passively while they sleep. I don't exactly know how that mechanic works, Llama, but it could be interesting. It could be interesting where pay to win, but if you're accepting that payment and getting nerfed, like if you're getting gigabit in response, then that becomes a very interesting mechanic and like dynamic where maybe you're making more money over time getting nerfed, but you're earning gigabit. Very interesting. Pay to nerf another human. Absolutely. Moving on. I mean, one of the stories of all of crypto gaming, dude, like Power is just unstoppable, man. They picked the right ticker when they picked Power, dude. Power has that power. Of course, this is Fableborn, and their token is up another like 20%, all-time highs, over 52 cents in price at a market cap of $123 million, fully diluted value of over $500 million. Power launched back in December. Llama. Yellow Panther in the chat, the legend, the GOAT. What is up, YP? How we doing, man? Appreciate you stopping by. If you're here, dude, hang around. In 15 minutes, we're gonna have Justin Waldron on the show, co-founder of Zynga, to tell us about what he's building in crypto gaming. And if we can save crypto gaming, YP, we're here to save crypto gaming. And Justin Waldron is gonna tell us what we need to do. So hang out 15 minutes. He will be on, but, if not, man, I appreciate you swinging through, guys. So Llama, to answer your question, Power launched in December and it is up at 10 cents, mind you. It launched in December at 10 cents. I think it was like 30 million market cap, something like that. It is up 500%. 100%. I'm doing crazy work for gaming. You're doing crazy work for gaming, YP. I appreciate you, dog. You know, real recognize real out here. We're not new to this. We're true to this, homie. 500%, Cairo. You love to see it. You know what else you love to see? If everything goes according to plan, Bonded AXS is coming this week, according to POS2.ron. As a Ronin ambassador, YP, I know you're excited and happy about this. Very, very big things happening in the Ronin ecosystem. Not to mention, over the weekend, they had a Ronin meetup in the Philippines. Shout out to Kagi doing great work over there. I don't think Jace was there, but like, super dope event. I saw a bunch of like community photos. Now we got a video. They were playing games. Shout out to what is her name? It's not Darlene. Super nice girl though. She was at YGG Play Summit. Met a lot of these people. Looks like a great event. Love to see more local grassroots events. And I know Jace has been a part of that. Spearheading their guerrilla growth team. So very, very cool. I mean, let me know, Jace. We can do something in Boston, dude. Like, you want to do an event in Boston? Let me know. Holla at your boy. Guys, moving on. Big news from the Thousands Network. They are introducing their Premier League franchisees and sponsorships, the WC Token Loop. Here's everything that you need to know. The Wildcard Premier League protocol brings value on chain where competitors can earn cash prizes. Creators, hey, I'm a creator. Thousands, holla at your boy. I can earn Wildcard token, let me know. Franchise managers and sponsors, they're going to fund the ecosystem and are rewarded with USDC. So you can build a franchise. Very cool. You can buy summon contracts from rookie, semi-pro to pro, build your roster, earn the leaderboard standing. I mean, they got their Premier League. Really cool. Shout out to Thousands. Shout out to Wildcard. Let's see. I'm just going to jump into the chat here so I can open this up to see whenever Justin joins us. He should be here in about 11 minutes. I'm just going to open that up, and I guess I will mute myself over there because we don't want that going. And then I can see when he joins. That'll be cool. 10 minutes, 10-minute countdown. We should be having Justin Waldron on. I'm so excited. Guys, major post from Kieran regarding Illuvium. But don't you fret. He says, this is not another gaming shutdown notice, so you can breathe a sign of relief. He says the last 6 months have been tough to say the least. Sentiment is all-time low. Crypto gaming is even lower. He says despite that, Illuvium pushes on. He says he promised 6 years ago that we would give it our all, and we're still in position to come out of this bear market strong with games that people in both mainstream and crypto want to play. He says they're lucky to be in a better financial position than most studios. And they've recently reduced their costs even further to ensure that they make it out. It's always scary. It's always scary when these games talk about their runway and talk about their funding. Like, you can tell that everyone is stressed and like pressed for financials. Like, who was it last week that said they have like 6 months of runway left, or like maybe like 16 months or a year and a half? I think it was like, I don't want to quote it wrong, but I'll have to try and review the transcripts, but someone was saying like they've got like a year and a half left of runway, which is like not bad, but also scary. So we got a bunch of updates here to Overworld, to Beyond, to Arena. He's like, oh, like, where did we go wrong with Arena? You know, they do love the game, but like, you know, it's just not really working that way. I actually think I pulled up Grok, but I got to resize it. Give me 1 second here. We'll try and resize Grok and pull this up so we can view that better. So They said that they're accelerating Overworld's launch to December 2026 with core features like multiplayer combat and on-chain progression while scaling back PvP to focus on the rapid delivery. He says the update pivots Arena toward a Web 2 Steam release via IP licensing for broader appeal and revenue, which contrasts with Beyond's expansion into a quick build tabletop game integrating NFT mechanics and Greenlight's Deathmatch as a mobile risk-to-earn title to diversify income streams. Grok says the community responses mix optimism about faster releases and new utilities with concerns over Arena's shift. And it reflects on Illuvium's history of maybe sometimes being overly ambitious with multi-game development, and they've sustained a dedicated fan base despite the ILV token dropping. So yeah, if you're in the Illuvium ecosystem, this was a big post from the co-founder Kieran. And we're rooting for him. Next up, crypto gaming's kind of doing well in many regards. Ryan Ever shares that BR1 Infinite players have withdrawn over 100,000 USD in earnings as of this morning. So show me another game that's done that. Now they've been around for quite a while. So it's like, what time frame is that 100K coming from? But still, nonetheless, really, really, you love to see these types of posts and announcements. These are players earning money, which you love to see. You know what else you love to see, guys? Berna has joined AveForge as their growth lead. The boy done got himself a job in Web3. Big congratulations to Berna. I think he's a very talented creator, young creator. I think that this position will be great for him in continuing to learn and to grow, and his ability to develop as a professional. I think this is a major pickup for AveForge. I love, one of the best combinations is games with creators. When you hire a creator, you're hiring someone, with a lot of talent and reach and distribution. AZ says he's really happy to have Berna joining him. He's been close with the project for a while, understands the game, and shares the same vision of where AveForge is going. So very, very cool. However, while we love to see this, before we get there, AZ did say, hot take from AveForge, most on-chain games fail because they optimize for token charts, not competition. So he says, we're going risk to earn here. Players don't want to wait for price appreciation. They want to risk small, play well, and win big. When I hear that, I think of poker. I think poker nailed this, and that is exactly what the risk to earn model is. And really, it's really interesting because I think that there's some winning model here, and we're watching a lot of people make a really strong go of it, and it's exciting, man. It is really exciting. So we're gonna have to keep watching this narrative. These tests, these games come to market. Can they find sustainability with this model? That is going to be the big deal, because online poker was so prominent because of the World Series of Poker and ESPN, and it just blew up with the internet and television, and it just became everywhere, right? So they had baked in distribution and virality, and so I feel like these games are going to need that as well. But not all is well. Oh wait, no, do I not have the where's the tweet? Oh, I don't have that tweet. Hold up. Let me find it. Did I not add it? Oh, here it is. Yeah. Let me just pull up this tweet. I do think context is important, and while we give praise, we also have to educate across the board of what we are seeing. So, unfortunately, their NFT floor price is down about 50% of the pre-sale price. Sky Gaming says, make it make sense. Ave Forge is one of the most promising projects on Mega ETH and in gaming in general, if you ask him. The game is simple and fun, and the roadmap for it looks insane. The team spent a huge amount of time doing the right things, and yet still, you know, investing as a Web3 gamer is really, really tough. You know, we talked about this before, you know, Cash City not doing well, and even the newest game, Hunter Tales, we were covering recently, you know, their token is down quite a bit. So, you know, what are you gonna do? How do you win over here? You know, typical meme coin launch. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna talk about this, man. I'm really excited to have Justin Waldron on. We're gonna dive into the platform that they're building, Play.Fun, which he calls Pump Fun for Games, and I think that he has a very first principle, foundational approach into how he's thinking about it. So really, really excited to have him on in the next few minutes. But before we bring him on, what was the other story that I wanted to cover? We speed ran that quite a bit, and I'm curious. Oh, wait, where's this one? Did we skip that story? Hold up. I think we missed this story. Did this link not open up? Oh, I think I just, Hold on. I have it right. Somehow we missed this story. The last big major gaming story over the weekend that I wanted to talk about was Parallel doing, we talked about it on Thursday. We talked about it on Friday. Parallel League Open number 9 happened over the weekend, and congratulations to Meet Value. What a name, huh? What a name. He's gone 2-0 back-to-back wins in the league events, and took down the League Open number 9. So really impressive work there. And he could be one to watch, man. We got the Parallel League Championships coming up very, very soon. March will be their last chance qualifier. And I'm just going to make sure that I'm not missing any messages here. And then, you know, we're going straight to the championships. We're going to the championships. Last year, they did their $500,000 championship in Las Vegas. It was a 2-day event. It was absolutely electric. Really kind of kicked off like the bullish sentiment that was 2025 for crypto gaming. We're like, we are here live and in effect. Adrian, I'm gonna have you jump off, brother, because you're gonna mess up the this streaming here. But I appreciate. Oh, let me say that again. Adrian, I'm gonna have you jump off here because the layout's not gonna be there. But I appreciate you. But we do have Justin Waldron joining on here, guys. So we're gonna bring him on in just a second. Let me jump to him real quick, and then we'll bring him back on. So give us 30 seconds and we'll be back.
These are facts.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness. It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box. These are facts.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness. It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box. These are facts.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness. It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box. These are facts.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness.
All right, guys, we are back, and I am so excited for today's guest, and you are going to be too. He started hacking systems before he could drive. At 11, he was programming, and in high school, he cracked Burger King's coupon algorithm and built a site for unlimited free sandwiches. That was until he got a cease and desist, of course. Then at 19, he co-founded Zynga and helped turn it into the $14 billion gaming empire that dominated Facebook and changed how the world thinks about free-to-play. Since leaving Zynga, he's invested in over 100 startups, raised $100 million from Sequoia Capital for his gaming company Playco, and now he's building the open game protocol and Play.Fun, which just soft launched this month, and he's calling it the pump fund for games. And whether that excites you or terrifies you, you're gonna want to hear him explain why. So please welcome Justin Waldron to the show. And if I make this transition well, Justin, we are here. Oh, hold on. I have to share my screen. That's what I had to do over here. Let me share my screen, Justin, and then we will get this going. That should be better. There we go. Justin, welcome to Gaming Daily Live. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm super excited to be here. Thanks for that introduction. That's just, you're a great hype man.
It's not up to Sam Stefanina level, but we try and do our things over here.
Yeah, I'm very, very impressed. Thanks for that.
Justin, man, you are one of the most accomplished and respected names in all of gaming, and I think it's incredible that you see the vision and the future that crypto and blockchain can have in gaming. So I'm just curious if you can speak to that really quickly. What is it about blockchain and crypto that caught your attention, and why have you chosen to build here, and why do you believe it's the future?
Yeah, I mean, gaming goes through these cycles, right? And gaming as a form of media or entertainment, it's when the incumbents get really big, they have huge budgets, they have huge distribution power. As a small company, it becomes really difficult to compete with them. So the way that you can compete with them is to find some new opportunity, new wave to actually have the leverage to do something they won't do or they can't do. That gives players a new experience that then can lead to a big company creating a new type of games for people. And so I've just been always excited about that part of the cycle and creation. And it's super hard to get right. A lot of people try to do it, and it's hard to crack the code exactly. But it's about finding the right set of tailwinds and then making something that can actually change the economics behind how games are distributed and monetized. So what excites me about crypto is it can solve those problems. And in many ways, people say being right is the same, or being early is the same as being wrong in a lot of things in venture investing, right? So there are so many things where people were absolutely right about what would happen. The iPhone, we had smartphones in going back much further than the iPhone that failed. And there was a whole bunch of things that had to happen and the design to come together for us to actually have the global success of a smartphone like the iPhone. And you see this over and over and over again. And I think crypto is one of those things where there's all these things that people could see. And the question is well, when and how and what pieces need to come together. And it's tough because you need to be there early to be the first one to do it, but you also have to get it right to be the one that people remember. So Peter Thiel calls this the last mover advantage, right? You have Friendster comes out as a social network. You have MySpace does pretty well. Then you have Facebook. Facebook was the last mover. They got it right. People forgot about all the other ones that came out before them. The question for games and crypto is we've had all these first movers that did really well, right? We had huge gaming tokens. We had big gaming ecosystems in crypto, but it doesn't feel like we've had a last mover yet. Who's going to actually solve this problem in a way that sustains itself? And so, yeah, I mean, figuring that stuff out is really hard, but it's what makes the space exciting. And interestingly, in the last year or two, with how much AI has just started to accelerate, these questions aren't just becoming something where it's people searching for a new model because there's new opportunity. It's also because gaming is kind of entering a little bit of a crisis right now. Not everybody in the industry is willing to admit it. Not everybody is willing to see it, but there's huge changes underway because of what AI is doing to the space.
Yeah, I'd love to. I mean, let's just dive into that right there. So you guys are doing some stuff with AI agents with Play.Fun. So I guess before diving into Play.Fun, because I know it's soft launch and I want to hear all about it and what you're up to, how are you seeing the convergence of AI in gaming? I mean, it's, AI is all over the timeline. It's all anyone is talking about right now. How have you been looking at AI for the past few years even? So I'm sure you've kept a finger on the pulse of things, but even with the emergence of it right now, how are you guys looking at it?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. Gaming has always been ahead of other forms of media. It's always the first to adopt the new technology. It's always the first to figure out the new monetization, the first to figure out new distribution. And in the last few years, video with short form video has started to get ahead of games in some ways, right? Like the algorithm, the way you discover content and the diversity of the content in video is now so far beyond games that games feel stale. And that's actually a big problem. And when we think about like, why is a lot of gaming started to plateau in growth recently? This is why. It's because gaming has become less culturally relevant because gaming can't keep up with the algorithm. Gaming needs to keep up with the algorithm. We can't ship games that look like they're disconnected from what people are talking about this week or today. And part of that is unlocked by AI, right? But it's a little bit of a more difficult problem because games have many different types of assets and they're interactive. And so the task or like the idea of putting all these things together in AI to create a piece of content is harder than just solving for video or just solving for images or just solving for audio. But now anybody who's been watching the space, audio, it's producer quality, right? Video, it's getting to Hollywood quality. Images, we've already been there. Like you don't need to Photoshop anymore. You can edit with words. So the pieces are there for people to start making games that are so responsive to culture, like in the way short form video is, that we can actually have games that people notice on the timeline because it's about something they care about. Now, like the thing that's missing though is actually monetization. Someone has to go and tie those pieces together, and you're seeing it. There are people releasing these games that are almost like meme games that catch on the timeline and on X and other places. The problem is they don't have a way to monetize these games. So when we started building mobile games and premium games back in 2007 at Zynga, the idea was like games were monetized as a good box service, and you are not as a service, but as a box game, and you paid $50 up front. And we said, hey, the model should be that you pay for an ongoing service if you can via the items you buy in the game. And that was a totally novel idea at the time. Now, what we're seeing is that like if these pieces of content are going to be hyper relevant, well, then they're also going to be potentially very short lived. And we may be going from games as a service to games as sort of content consumption, like a much, much shorter content consumption. And if that happens, well, then the monetization model is going to change again. And so what we're doing with Play.Fun is pretty simple. Pump.Fun saw that there was this new form of content with memes, right? And memes could not be monetized, but actually memes had all this power and memes controlled so much of the algorithm. Well, now you can make meme games. It's possible for someone to say, hey, Punch the Monkey is the big thing on X today. I'm going to go make a Punch the Monkey game. And maybe 20 people will try to make Punch the Monkey games that are the best one. And then one of them could end up being a popular Punch the Monkey game that gets all this attention on X because it's hitting the topics that people are actually talking about on the For You algorithm. Someone could make a game about the hockey match between Canada and the US, whatever other thing is trending today. And they actually can have a means of monetizing that by having a token associated with the game. Now, I just want to say one thing, because like it almost sounds too obvious. Like when you say Pump.Fun meets games, it's like we kind of feel like we've heard that pitch before, right? I mean, Pump.Fun is old news in crypto. It's almost 2 years old at this point. Everybody knows it's huge. It's still huge. Still does tons of trading volume. Enabled a whole new wave of ability in crypto to create tokens and monetize attention and create attention on interesting memes. Now, no one's actually done it because if you look at what they've done, they've said, oh, well, this is kind of a way to fund indie games. This is kind of a way to fund this. That's actually not what Pump.Fun is. Pump.Fun is no promises, right? When you buy a meme coin, you don't think I'm funding this meme. It's a way to really make a prediction about, is this meme going to be more or less popular? And that's where they found product market fit. Mm-hmm. So what we're saying is like games in Web3 have made a lot of promises. and it's that those promises haven't been kept. Even when founders have tried to keep them, that has gotten a lot of traders frustrated with games and crypto. They've realized that it's tough to make bets on some of these games and these companies if they're making a lot of promises that they can't necessarily keep, or that the chances of them keeping are very low. Play.fun is saying this is like Pump. Come in here, play these games. You'll earn the token when you play the game, and you're free to buy the token. But think about this as a way to support the developer and to predict whether or not this game will be more or less popular over the next few days. And if the game rewards more tokens more quickly, and it doesn't have to create some emissions schedule that's years long, well, then you're not farming for tokens anymore. Now you're in the realm of Pump.fun, where we're getting fun, exciting new games every day that we can have like a lot of trading volatility, which is what traders want, and attention, which is what the algorithm wants. It wants it on new, fresh content, right? So the idea with Play.fun is we're not a game creation platform. We just let you plug in anything that you made with AI from a game standpoint and attach a token to it in under 1 minute. You can have an AI skill that you can use with Claude or anti-gravity or Codex. It doesn't matter. We work with everything. Tell it you want to add Play.fun. It adds it in under a minute. It one-shots it. Now your game has a token in it that gets rewarded to players when they play every day. When the token graduates, it's just like Pump.fun. When the token graduates, there's a large airdrop reward that goes to all the players. And all this happens automatically. So if you can one-shot a game in 20 minutes, you can add token rewards to it in a minute. So this is a brand new thing.
It's honestly incredible. It's also a little bit like mind-blowing. And I know that you guys have been working on this for quite a while, and also iterating on the model and the design. So I wanted to ask a little bit about that, Justin. Like, were there breakthroughs in how you were thinking, or, even changes in how you were thinking from originally how Open Game Protocol was designed to what you're doing now with Play.fun? And like, what did you learn kind of along that way that kind of formed that thesis? Like, where have you been right in this, and where do you feel either, was wrong or evolved?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I feel like you got to figure out what your true north is, right? Our true north has always been that AI would unlock a new form of creation in games that would reinvent how games are played, distributed, and monetized. And that crypto would be the monetization layer for that, because it's more well suited to this new form of creator monetization than any other thing. That's just like a very high level, and it's almost too obvious. And that's like what I said in the beginning about, are you too early? Being too early and wrong are the same thing, yeah. Right? Like, I have like complete conviction in what I just said. I think most of us do. It almost seems too obvious that at some point, like, someone's going to crack that, and crypto will be probably the layer that monetizes this new user created games with AI. Now, the question is like how to get there. When we launched Open Game Protocol, that was back in October on 10/10, which was not great timing, to say the least. But the idea was that there was these huge token communities like a Fartcoin, and maybe they would be interested in curating the games and working with game developers and adding utility to their token. In practice, I think a lot of these token communities have many other things that they're focused on, and games is a hard thing to get them to focus on. And at the same time, we met all these game developers, and they just said, hey, how do I add token rewards to my game? This ends up being way more complicated than you think. And we said, wait a second, like, do you remember before Pump.fun came out, where people would put a contract or their wallet address in a tweet, and they would say, send me money, and if everyone sends me money, I'll give you some of the token I'm about to launch, and just trust me, bro. And then Pump.fun solved this very, very simple problem. And so in many ways, like, what we were trying to do before was way too complicated. We're getting ahead of ourselves. We're assuming that like these larger ecosystems need to exist, when all traders are really asking for is interesting new assets to predict what the future might look like. They want to see a punch the monkey game and say, do I think this game will be bigger or smaller than today? And that's it. And we give you that simple primitive to do that. And then for players, like, what's interesting about this is because there's so much volatility in the tokens with this launchpad model, it means that you might actually get lucky and play a game and make money that you wouldn't make in a play to earn game that has to give a reward schedule over 4 years. Because if they do, then they're trying to give tiny amounts of the token out over a long period of time, and then the hourly rate ends up being something that people are willing to play the game for. Whereas in this case, the punch the monkey game, if it only lasts a few days that it's popular, then we can design tokenomics, allow in the launchpad and the protocol for people to distribute the rewards much more quickly. And what that means is that instead of play to earn grinding, this could be something with like meme coin like volatility and multiples for playing games, which also becomes a lot more interesting to a bunch of people who don't want to play games and grind for many hours for a reward schedule that's long lasting. So we're actually kind of solving everybody's problems here. And it's kind of obvious in hindsight. There's nothing like, if anything, the way of summarizing it would be like Open Game Protocol was too right curve. Like we were trying to master how do we solve all the problems that these other communities have, and Play.Fun is very left curve. It's as far left curve as anything in gaming has ever been, but it probably also couldn't exist until very recently, because I know you've been watching the AI advancements, and what's happened with coding in the last 2 months is
insane.
Is crazy. So like this is a moment in time where this type of thing could finally exist. So that's why we're excited to do it.
I love that. I have a few questions that I just want to like double click into. But on the left curve, right curve thing, it's funny because it's like, yeah, it's like, play fun games and, traders want to speculate, right? And it's like, that was fundamentally Open Game Protocol. On the right curve, like big brain, like all the foundational infrastructure tech behind it. And then on the left side, Play.Fun, like play fun games and let traders speculate. And I do want to double click into kind of the play coin model. You kind of explained it a little bit, but as I understood it, I took some notes. I went on to the site. So the play coins on Play.Fun, a game creator, whether that's a human or an AI agent, they can register their game on Play.Fun. And then a play coin is launched for that specific game on a bonding curve where anyone can buy, sell it immediately. And 50% of the play coin supply is then allocated to the game rewards. So the creator is going to get a set payout, whether that be like a week or a month. And correct me if I'm wrong on any of the details. But then all the rewards are paying out within that window. So like you said, you're kind of fixing the broken emission model that play to earn, kind of originally struggled from. You also have the daily leaderboards with payouts as well, where players can compete, for those play coins and get their earnings and play fun games and be a part of the game of the day and the meta and the memes and the narratives and kind of all that thing. Like you're just seeing this, as you said, pumped up fun for games, but also like, this like TikTok, like, what is happening now? What are my friends doing? Where you're serving all kind of all interested parties. Do I have that correctly? One, is there anything to kind of clarify there in the mechanics of the play coins?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. There's some of the things that you mentioned are configurable. Okay. So we'll let people who are launching the token decide how they want to have the rewards be emitted. So for example, because there are some trade-offs between some of these things. So it may be possible to configure the coin to have 7 or 30-day rewards after it graduates, where you're giving up to 50% of the supply up to players. But if you do that, then the token has to have a higher graduation market cap, because the token supply to support that has to be supported by more liquidity, and there's math behind it. But basically, like the average Pump.Fun coin may graduate around $30,000 US. But if you want to have 50% of the supply go to rewards, then you may have to graduate a token at something like over 120K or whatever. So you may decide that trade-off's not worth it. There's another thing you can do, what we think is probably going to be one of the most popular options that we're going to ship today, which is basically like a curve that's almost the same as Pump.Fun, except for one key difference. So like when the token graduates, about $1,000 of the token will be distributed to all the people who've played the game before the token graduated. So if you remember, like we built a very popular Telegram game called Gems. It got over 20 million users. And everyone in Telegram was playing these games to earn the points and the coins that would then lead to an airdrop in an eventual token listing. But the problem is the token listings usually didn't happen, right? To get a token listing done, the game company has to go and work with a bunch of exchanges and get terms they like, and then they have to figure out how to actually list a token. It takes months and months and months. And so most of the Telegram games never dropped a token, ours included, and we wanted to. But actually, like what we found was when we started talking to a lot of exchanges and then seeing how other tokens performed, we realized that it wasn't going to work. And so what's interesting about this model is you can give that guarantee to people. Actually, we can say, Icy launched a game. If this token graduates, there's $1,000 of this token will be airdropped to everyone or to the players on the leaderboard for the game, period. Like, you don't need to worry about Icy getting the listing done. You don't need to worry about anything. Like, if it graduates, that's going to happen. And that's kind of interesting because then you can go and market your game and say, hey guys, I launched a fun new game for Punch the Monkey today. And if it gets to graduation, then there's $1,000 of rewards that are there that came from the liquidity of the token having been launched. So this lets game creators market their game, which is like the number one problem in games is, as you know, is how do you get attention on a game in the first place? One, the algorithm, do a game about what's popular in X. Two, have some incentive. Like, why do people care? Oh, $1,000 if I get there early and it graduates, there could be up to $1,000 of that token that I get for free. Now there's a utility built into the play coins, which is if someone you earn points in the game, right? And you climb the leaderboard to get more of a share of the rewards. If you want to climb the leaderboard faster, you can take the play coin for that game and you can spend it and it multiplies your points to get higher up the leaderboard. The spent play coin go to the game developer. So you're also just supporting the game developer when you do that. And hopefully the game developer is probably not selling their tokens because they want to support their tokens. So that could make more of these play coins held by a strong holder in the game developer, which means that there could be more pressure for the price to go up potentially. So that's the kind of the thinking here is you're supporting game developers through those means. And the other thing is that the game developer makes a cut of the trading fees. So if you think about it in the most simple model that's worked for Launchpad is like Believe, for example, while it was still doing really well, was sharing the creator fees, just like Pump is sharing the creator fee model back to the people who launched the token. Or the people who started a company with Believe, where they're funding their company through the trading fees, not through dumping tokens on holders, right?
Right.
This is the same model for games. So in all the investor-backed games, there's an investor supply, there's the game creator has a supply, and the only way for them to make money is to sell into liquidity coming from other people. In this model, like the game creator it's a fair launch. Anyone can buy the token on the bonding curve. The game creator's main source of making money is going to be through trading fees on the token. So they're incentivized to get attention on the token. And when people spend to multiply their points, they can give the play coin to the game developer, but it's up to them whether or not they're selling. But they're not starting with some very large position that they're looking to sell into other people. So we think it's like way better aligned incentives than anything has had in play to earn. And the economics are great because it only costs $2 or $3 to launch a token on Solana, right? So we're taking this process that took, lawyers and millions of dollars for games, and we're just making it like what Pump funded. Like anybody can just AI vibe code a game that's about the right thing at the right time and launch token.
I fully love that thesis and align with it. I'm big on democratizing, access, power, opportunity to the people, and in gaming it's like power back to the gamers and shared incentives and alignment between the game creators and the players. I want to dive into that a little bit more, but before I do, I just want to ask your thoughts, Justin, on like the sustainability or like the long-term view of Play.Fun with different games launching, different tokens launching, different, developers building on the platform. Like, how do you think it plays out? Because Pump Fun, Believe, these things, like it's up and down, right? Even to this day, there's a lot of volatility in there. Mm-hmm. Which again can be good, and traders love that. But does that work in game or in gaming? I think the monetization absolutely is hugely powerful for the gamers and the creators. But I guess I'm just curious what your long-term view is on the sustainability, because I know you're here for the right reasons and trying to build something incredibly powerful and world changing. So I'm curious what that looks like.
Yeah, so I don't know. I hate to be the bearer of bad news to everyone in games, but like you're only as good as your next game. I think that's where we're at already, and we're just not admitting it yet. And so every other form of media has already gone there. I mean, if you look at you're in the business of doing social stuff, right? And media, like you're only as good as your next post on the new X algorithm, right? We got all these followers you built up for years.
You're the best interview I'll ever have. So this is the top.
But this is the problem, right? Like games are already on this intention rat wheel, if you want to put this the cynical way to put it, but they're underarmed. Like everything else, like video is so hyper targeted now. And so all the game developers are like, why isn't anyone paying attention to my game that has nothing to do with what anyone's talking about or cares about on these spaces anymore? And it's because the algorithm is not going to show your random fantasy MMO to a bunch of people who are talking about the Olympics hockey game. It's just not the relevant thing for their feed. And so I think that we need to adapt to where the channels have gone. And we've been the last to do that. And what that means is that you're only as relevant as your last piece of content you put out that got people excited. And this is already where YouTube is gone. This is already where TikTok is gone. This is already where X is gone. This is already where Instagram is. Like everything has already moved there except for games. And so the good news is you don't need to make a game for 3 years anymore. Now, if you make a game for 3 years, you want people to play it for 3 years. And when we made a game at Zynga, we used to say, can we make a forever franchise, like something people will play forever? And we got pretty close to some games. Like, I mean, there's still people playing Words with Friends, but it's not as popular as it was in the first few years of the iPhone era. And so I think that with games as a service, like the natural tendency is to make a game last as long as possible. And I think there's still a space for those types of games. But I think that space is very competitive in red ocean. I think the channels for it are choked up. I think we're looking for other ways to distribute games, and the answer is right in front of us, which is they need to be relevant. And the unlock is that AI finally gives us the ability to do that, and that we need a way to monetize them that makes it worthwhile to make a game for a day or a few days and then have to make enough money from it that we're happy with it if it's gone after a few days. And there are a lot of people who are living that day to day right now in all these other channels with video and with music and with posts, right? So it's just games are now going to become like every other form of content. Now, we don't know what's on the other side, right? Like games are this multi-$100 billion industry now that's bigger than music, bigger than movies, bigger than everything else. It may be that when like AI gets fully pushed through all this over the next few years, that we don't end up being as big of an industry anymore as we were. Because that growth, I was there when it started, and we were like right neck and neck with movies and music, and then just we kept growing because we figured out the games as a service thing, and then they kind of stagnated, right? That's the story. You can see the charts. You've probably seen them before. It may be that games just go way down again, and we had this golden era where we printed money with just like people are worried about SaaS, right? Yeah. Everyone's talking about, is SaaS dead? Games are SaaS. Right. Freemium games are SaaS. Yeah. That's what they are. It's interesting to me that people in games aren't saying the same thing. They're like, well, SaaS is dead, man. All these companies are dead. Well, freemium games are SaaS. So if SaaS is dead, freemium games are also in trouble, probably. Okay. And if games become content, well, then we have to start acting like content, right? And these streams and the distribution reality. So when it comes to making something long term, Pump.Fun's still doing $400 or $500 million of volume a day. I mean, it's huge. And so like the death of Pump.Fun has been greatly exaggerated. The token didn't go as well as everybody hoped for. Maybe they don't have the best tokenomics model for their protocol token. I don't know. Maybe they didn't do an airdrop and they bothered people. It's anybody's guess. But the platform is still the most successful consumer sort of like broader crypto platform there is, I think. And Solana owes much of its success to Pump.Fun, right? Could be 60, 70, 80% of Solana's usage and attention and success is owed to Pump.Fun. So it can't be understated how important that was. And I think that's, if games are going this direction, we need to make a bet to try to like help people go that direction rather than fight it. And I think that's the other thing you mentioned about Open Game Protocol before is like, we were probably trying to push back against that direction too hard and say like, look, we need to build these huge ecosystems around these tokens. And I think this Play.Fun is much more just acknowledging where the world is headed versus trying to push back against it and trying to ride the wave instead of redirect it.
No, it makes a lot of sense because, you know, we had the Olympic hockey game over the weekend where the USA won and beat Canada. And like, I can just imagine, like I would play that game right now. If there was a game that I could play, quick hockey game where USA and Canada, and it's tied into the culture. So I think it makes a lot of sense, and it's exciting for what AI can be done. And we're seeing that every day on the timeline. I spent 3 hours coding up this MMO, and it's like working, and I think it's the level of creativity that's out there is only going to be more empowered by the tools. Justin, I just want to make sure you're okay on time. I don't want to go too far over.
Yeah.
But if you have another
Good.
5 minutes, I did want to ask some follow-up questions. Llama in the chat is asking what's the most effective ways for user acquisition in your opinion? And I guess that follows along the line. I was going to ask, like, how does someone get started with play.fun? If someone sees this or sees a clip and wants to dive in and make a game, where would they get started?
Yeah. So easiest way to get started is if you go to play.fun, there's an add game button on the top. You tap that. There's a single line to install the skill for using with your AI code editor. Then you can very easily get instructions for how to add a game to play.fun. And so for a lot of games that have a score and they're well suited to this model, like they just one shot and the game will be integrated. And you can have it actually upload the game automatically from the skill. Like you don't even need to go to the website to do that. So it's extremely easy. You don't need to read the documentation anymore, is what I would say. We've designed it to be AI native. The thing on you said, like, what's the best way to get user acquisition? What's the most effective? I think effectiveness is about how much money you spend versus how much attention you get, right? And most of games and premium games is this ad model where people are happy to pay $3 to $5 per user, but most bootstrap game companies can never do that, and they're looking for another way, and that's what Play.fun is built for, right? It's built for the things that could grab the attention and the imagination of people, but you don't have a huge marketing budget. Now, if you just put a game on here and you don't do anything, it's not going to get attention. Like, you have to go and post it on socials and promote it, and then get people excited about the token. Go into spaces where people are actually trading crypto and like will understand your meme. Go make a meme game that like people actually, that resonates with people in crypto. Yeah. Like, look at Pump. Look at what's trending on Pump. It's not exactly the same stuff as X. There's a subset of things that people in crypto really that resonates with them, that is overlapping with everybody else, but it's not the same stuff. So yeah, make content about things people care about, and then get it in front of those people. And then the protocol is such that, like, if you get enough traders excited about the game you're building, then the rewards will go up. And if the rewards go up, then you're also going to have more players who are playing and supporting the game and getting the token distributions. So they're going to be supporting you. And you can make a lot more noise on the timeline a lot faster. So one example I like to give, and it's somebody that we've been working with, is Jonathan Mann. Are you familiar with him? He did the Song a Day for 17 years.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, he was just at Denver. Some friends met him and were posting about it.
Yeah, so he did a game a day in January, and it wasn't with us, but he's already kind of on this idea, and he's such a prolific creative, and he understands the algorithm so well. Now, a lot of people don't know is Jonathan, like, there was that Coldplay meme that was going viral a few months ago, where everyone was watching the audience. In the audience, there was a couple who was cheating, and everybody was talking about on X for a week or so, right? He made a game about them, and it got like 20 million views on X. Okay. And it was basically, where's Waldo? You're looking around the audience and you're finding them, and then you find them, and that's all the game was. But he understood the algorithm, and he did that. Now, if there was like a token associated with that, and people who played that game after 20 million views for free, right? That's the most effective UA you can get. I'm sure that he would have done very well. I'm sure that token would have done well. I'm sure a lot of people would have been excited that they earned a token for playing the game, and supported him as a developer for making a piece of content that everybody enjoyed. And so this is about giving creators more ways to monetize the reach they're getting on social media. Like, for somebody like you or anybody who has that overlap of gaming, AI, crypto, that can easily put this stuff to work. And so we can't like just make people win. And I feel like you should always be deeply skeptical of places that or platforms that kind of suggest that. I think this is a tool to get way more leverage out of whatever you can do to attract people to your game. And you got to make the right. What's interesting is there's a vacuum. Like, you know it, I know it. There's so little actual relevant content in games about what people care about that if you make the Coldplay game, you get 20 million views on your game.
Right.
There is no other game that someone's made in the last 6 months that got 20 million free views.
Yeah.
It just doesn't exist. So why did that game? Well, yeah, the meme was popular, but there's popular memes every day on X. And the problem is there's no game content for any of it. So people saw that and they're like, wow, there's game content for something that's relevant. It's so obvious, right? So I feel like that's the opportunity, is like, don't go build another fantasy MMO. Like, we have a lot of those. I get it. They're fun games. But like, how are you ever going to stand out, right?
Yeah.
I mean, go try to make content where there isn't content, and then you're filling a vacuum. And now people are going to be excited because they're saying, wow, like, there's actually a game for Punch the Monkey. There's actually a game for like Trump shooting penalty shots in hockey against Trudeau or something in the goal, right? Like, these things should exist.
It makes so much sense. We've seen memes go viral. We've seen, games go viral, but pairing the two and providing the infrastructure and democratizing the access to the tools to launch games, to launch tokens, I think makes a ton of sense. And so how are you looking at the landscape? I know Play.Fun has, its OpenClaw skills and, it's one-shot game maker. I know that you've invested in platforms like Remix. We're also seeing people, make Roblox games and, use Claude Code and things like that. How do you see the advancement of people using AI to make games over the next, 3 to 5 years? Like, is there a platform that comes out and wins? Does one of the legacy platforms integrate this and launch that? Does Fortnite editor go crazy? Or does Roblox and Minecraft continue to take it all? I'm curious your thoughts on that.
I think they're all going to be growing from this, but I think like the structure is going to change so much. So anyone who has kids can see what's going on with Roblox, and I think it's people are really still. I think the stat was that like Roblox had as many monthly active users recently than Steam and PlayStation 5 had combined, maybe plus Xbox too.
Yeah.
And those kids are not graduating to consoles.
Yep.
When we were growing up, we're like, what is the next console game that's dropping? We're reading magazines and we're reading the web to like figure out what game's coming up, and we're stoked about it. And it's like an afterthought for them.
Yeah.
They're just Roblox is like a YouTube for games.
Yeah.
People kind of forget that. Like, you just go through the content. And so that's what I'm saying. Some places, like, the future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed yet. The thing we said about content, Roblox is already in that world.
Yeah.
Like, if you go look at the way that kids burn through games on there, they're not playing the same game for a year.
Yeah.
The longest lived games get a month, 2 months, 3 months max. But most of the games are just content like YouTube. And then, the developers are just fighting to stay relevant, right? But there's a lot of opportunity there because there's a lot of users. And I think we have places where there are a lot of users and you can get a lot of attention, like X, but we don't have a way to then convert those people who are now interested in that content to actually making the developer money. And if you do, then a developer can make a livelihood out of doing it, right? You need to be able to make money so you can keep refining your craft and making it better. And so the simple reason for why we don't have a bunch of meme games on X is like, you can't make money doing it yet, right? But if you can make money doing it, and then someone's going to keep reinvesting in it, just like the crazy people who reinvested in making Roblox games over the last 6, 7, or 8 years, and they get really good, and then an industry is born. So I think you'll see it in Unreal, you'll see it with Unity. Just dropped new stuff yesterday that's pretty interesting, and to allow MCP for Claude and stuff like that. You're going to see it get integrated in everything. You'll probably see new platforms. I'm really excited about Remix. Like you said, I invested. They're an amazing team. There's going to be more proprietary approaches where like you give people the scaffolding to create higher quality games with less work. And then there's going to be this sort of like modular approach where open source is growing really, really quickly. And you're seeing 3JS, which is the popular 3D game engine everybody's using in the web. Its downloads have just went vertical after 3 years. And then you're seeing 3JS, which is the popular 3D game engine everybody's using in the web. Its downloads have just went vertical after after AI has taken off over the last year, because it used to be so hard to learn how to use like 3JS to make 3D games in the browser. And now with AI assisting people, it's super popular, right? It's like if you ask an AI to make you a 3D game, it's going to suggest 3JS. It's not going to suggest Unity, because Unity is proprietary. So like, why is Claude going to tell you to use Unity if you then have to go install the Unity editor and everything else? 3JS is in the web browser. It's open source. It's free. So in a weird way, like, I think the answer is like more of everything. I don't think this is winner takes most. I think it's like video. I think it's like photos. People use a million different things to edit photos. They use a million different things to edit videos. There's probably going to be hundreds of good ways to make games. Some of them will come with their own distribution, like Roblox and Fortnite. Some of them won't, but they'll be like specialized to different types of content. And we're just betting on like this particular way to drive attention for where people care about like being on top and in touch with like the latest thing that's trending on social. That's kind of where we feel like what Pumped Out Fun has done for memes. We just want to do the same thing for games.
Justin, I'm so grateful and thankful that you are building in this space. And if more people knew what you were doing and knew that you were here and saw what you saw, you know, the crypto gaming, the narrative around crypto gaming would be very, very different. I appreciate you so much. Before I let you go, I just have two quick questions. I want to be respectful of your time, but I really like every time that you speak. I watch the Sam podcast. I've seen some of your other interviews recently. Love the thesis, the approach, and the why of like what you're doing. And as like someone who's dedicated my life to this industry for the past 4 years, but really had to come in and learn so much. I don't have the resume or background that you have. It's been I love the space so much, and I want to see it win and grow. And the fact that people like you and Paul Bettner and Gabe Layden like agree with us, see where the puck is going, just means so much. And rooting for you as always. And I really appreciate you taking the time to come on the show. Two quick fun questions to get you out of here. We're talking about gaming. Are there any games that have caught your eye recently that maybe you've been inspired by, or that you like just think are awesome or just super fun, or like either on the Played Out Fun platform, maybe in crypto, or just, traditional games as well?
I'm playing Mario Tennis right now. I'm a very basic gamer. I mean, I love Nintendo. So yeah, I've been playing a lot of Mario Tennis. And the other thing I've been spending a lot of time on is Roblox, like actually in the editor, Roblox Studio, right? So and just trying to understand like where a lot of these other pieces are going. Like you mentioned, they're also adding AI capabilities, and like how could some of this stuff shake out? I think you need to really spend time in these ecosystems to understand it. And it's really amazing, like to see what's been built and how long it took to build. Roblox is like a 20-year-old company, and we still talk about it like it's some fresh venture startup, but it's like this thing that took forever to build and forever to get traction. And now it's taking the world by storm, really. Like you talk to anyone who's under sort of 13, it's it's like as important as Instagram to them or something, or YouTube. It's a basic part of their life at this point. So yeah, that's what I'm spending time on. For me, like the most exciting thing is unlocking the new creativity. So I'm just so interested in seeing, like, my algorithm is now very tuned to this type of vibe coding stuff that's popping up. And everybody knows that like a year ago, Levels.io made a game, an airplane game, and everybody got excited about vibe coding, and it blew up, and then it really like withered after that, because it turns out like the coding stuff wasn't that great a year ago. But now it's amazing. And so you're seeing it pick up really healthily now with like an organic trend of just people saying, wow, I can build so much stuff. Whereas before it was just kind of like, oh, this really popular developer is doing this and it's really hard, and a bunch of game developers used it to assist themselves. But now it's like, it's all really kind of, it's ready actually. And so this time, if you get in the algorithm on these vibe coded games, like in this, you see the stuff people are building, and the pace, it's not weekly anymore. It's like daily, you'll see something that's just shocking. And so, I feel like that is where I'm spending my time. And then the power of, like I said, open source is like something that's so crazy now, because it used to be when you released open source project, you had to have a developer come and hear about your project and then learn how to use it and read the documentation. And now if you build something really fundamental, the coding agents can learn about your open source project and they can integrate it, and there's no cost or cognitive load for someone to go and use a new project. So what it means is that like building all these modular open pieces, whereas before it would be too much of a burden for people to learn about all of them, now like it's the agent is learning about all of them. So you're seeing stuff assemble in a really interesting way that I think wasn't possible before. And that's kind of like where I feel like the future is headed. Is open source has always been hugely important, but it's always suffered from a marketing problem. And the marketing problem is very largely not solved, but very helped by aiding AI agents, because they prefer free and open code that they can see a lot of examples for. So what we're seeing is, like I said, 3JS blow up and all these other things. So I think that's the future.
I love that. My last question, and this was, I wanted to ask it earlier, but the conversation went other ways. But I'm just very curious, Justin, like, you know, you clearly see the future with AI and crypto, but a lot of people in the gaming industry have an aversion to it. So I'm curious, you know, someone as established as you, maybe you're like, how do your peers or other associates in you know, the industry react or you know, look at what you're doing in crypto and you know, pushing forward with AI and stuff? Like, are people like agreeing with you, or are they like, Justin, what are you doing? Are you crazy? Like, I guess I'm curious what the what that side of it looks like on the industry.
When we started Zynga, and even the first few years we were building games as a service with freemium, like no one in traditional games respected what we were doing. So I don't really worry about that. And I mean, honestly, like I just do what's interesting for me and what I think is like for my interest, which is freemium gaming opened up a bunch of creativity and it opened up access, right? So like before you had to buy games for $50 and they're free, anyone could play them. Some people paid and everyone made enough money to make it work. That was like a big step forward, in my opinion. I think now like creators being able to bootstrap and create new ideas is going to be hugely, it's going to be a very, very good thing for the game industry. And working in that space and just trying to sort it out is interesting. I'd say a lot of people in the game industry are just very comfortable, and they're good, smart people that like want to just do their job. And some of them are interested in the parts of game production that like are just less interesting to me personally. And that's probably on the side of like some huge creative vision that takes many years to create. Like that's never been the type of thing I've worked on. It's not to say that I don't get interested in the details of like how a game looks and feels for the player. I've done a lot of things there, but like it's just not my personal interest to go and make a game for 3 to 5 years. And I think unfortunately there's room for some of those games, but there's less and less room. And so I think most people who are being honest with themselves now realize there's a problem. The feedback loop is very long in games. And so the problem is it's very easy for people to sort of like convince themselves that things will be okay because their game comes out in 2 years or something, right? And they can kind of just like plug their ears and just ignore everything that's going on outside. But then the game comes out and it's like crickets, because the whole world has changed while they were off focusing on building this cool thing. And that's the danger right now. So I don't want to like sound the alarms, but I think most people who've tried to release a game in the last year have realized how different the world has become. And then those who haven't, they're just kind of like hoping that it's not as different as it seems like it might be. And startups and other forms of software they have like a quicker iteration cycle than most of games have had. And so in some way, I just think there a lot of people in the industry have yet to come with, they haven't encountered reality in too long. Maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years, maybe 4 years, maybe 5 years. Maybe they're working on a game that's been around for 12 years and it's still coasting on the success of some people in the company who don't even work there anymore, right? But whatever it is, like, and like I said, there's people doing amazing work. It's just like you need to get your assumptions tested by reality as often as possible. And I'm happy to go and try new things and get punched in the face by reality. But like a lot of people in games, like they're not always, their ideas are just not getting tested fast enough when they're working on these huge ambitious games. And that's the challenge. So I think like, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm more just saying that like their feedback loop is just so slow. It's really hard to be like, they probably shouldn't go worry about what's trending on the timeline, right? If they're building a game for 3 years, but to some extent they have to, right? That is the place they're going to be releasing their game soon. And like, they need to understand the dynamics. So that's the challenge.
Justin, you're incredible, man. I could listen, absorb. I'm like a sponge, just absorbing everything that you're sharing here. It's really incredible to get to talk to you. What do the next 3, 6, 12 months look like for Play.Fun? Is there anything that people should get really excited about or keep an eye out for in the near future, or jump in there and start playing around?
Yeah, I mean, this is the worst AI will ever be, right, at creating games. So hopefully, like, we can have big partnerships with AI game creation tools. So you can imagine tools that make it easier. Like maybe we can partner with them so their games can publish into Play.Fun and have a token. We'd love to do some of that. Hopefully we can have like really successful games that people create where they nail something, where like it just captures everybody's attention, like where we have a token in a game that everybody heard about and that sets the standard for what this could be. I think that's something that we would like to see, and that would get everybody excited about this more quickly. And then from our perspective, we just want to make it so easy for people to understand and share these games that when they get the link and they've played and they've never seen a game on Play.Fun before, they immediately understand, oh, I'm playing and I'm getting rewards and here's how it works. And we want to, our role as developers of the protocol is just to make sure that it's extremely easy for players and for developers and traders to understand how this works. And so it's greatly aided by the fact that we've moved to such a simple model. It's basically just Pump.Fun for games. But there's a touch of new stuff in there. The token graduates, the players get maybe over $1,000 in rewards and an airdrop. Developers launch a token for a few dollars, just like Pump.Fun. And it's a fair launch. It's bringing all the best practices from token launches to games. And we just want to continue to refine that idea. Just like if you look at Pump.Fun over the last year and a half, 2 years, they haven't really reinvented themselves. People said maybe it'll become TikTok, maybe it'll become this, or like it's pretty hard to just be a really good version of Pump.Fun, I think is the lesson. And they've continued to do that. There's still, $400, $500 million of trading volume on Pump.Fun every day. And I think that like just being the best APIs and place protocol, way for people to add a token to a game instantly is a really big challenge that we feel like we've got a great first version of that's built on a lot of the learnings of the last couple of years. But like, I'm sure it's going to be something we can work on for a long time to make it better.
There's a lot of last mover advantages baked into Play.Fun. Justin, you are an absolute legend. It's an honor to be able to speak to you. Thank you so much for coming on the platform. You're welcome anytime. And you're one of the visionaries that's building in the space. So whatever we can do as a platform, as a community, myself as a creator, to support you, to take part in what you're building, we always want to do that. So thank you so much for everything that you're doing in the space, because crypto gaming, like, we believe that it's inevitable, and a lot of the foundational principles that you spoke about today, it's like, yeah, it's inevitable. It's so obvious. Like, we see it, we've seen it for so long, but it certainly doesn't always feel inevitable, in the day-to-days. So really, really appreciate the work that you're doing and the convictions that you have and your willingness to adapt and follow your creativity and your passions and your interests. And I think it speaks volumes that, you've been building in the space for years now, and building towards this point and this vision. That's why I think it's so fundamentally important and pivotal and valuable. So I was so excited to have you on the show. Thank you once again. And everyone should go check out Play.Fun. We're going to make a bunch of clips from this and distribute them and, build the future of gaming, together.
Amazing. Yeah, I appreciate you. Thanks for having me on, and hopefully you get a game out soon. I don't know if you started vibe coding yet or if you have OpenClaw going, but let's go. Let's get your game out.
Icy Gaming on, Played Out Fun. Listen, I've always, people have asked me many times before, and have always, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to, the tools weren't there. But Played Out Fun makes it so easy and simple. Like, I think we got to play around with it. So yeah, Icy Games, coming soon.
Well, we're ready for it. So yeah, let me know when you're ready, and we'll do it.
Awesome, Justin. Have a great evening, man. We'll talk soon.
All right. Appreciate you.
Appreciate
Thanks
you.
for having me on. Thank you.
All right, guys. That was Justin Waldron. Oh my God. I'm like shaking. I'm tingling. That was incredible, guys. Thank you guys so much. I hope you guys got as much value and enjoyed that as much as I did. Guys, that was Justin Waldron, freaking co-founder of Zynga. What he's doing with Played Out Fun is incredible. I could just listen to Justin talk for hours and hours. I mean, I wanted to keep asking him questions. I had like 5 more questions in my head, but someone like that, you want to be very respectful of their time. And he was so generous with his time. We already went a half hour over the allotted time, but the clips, it's a lot to take in because he's very thoughtful and he's very articulate, and no one understands this industry and this space arguably more than Justin Waldron. There's very few people that understand the ins and outs of the business at every level, like him, like Paul Bettner, Gabe Layden. There's a bunch in here. Don't get me wrong, but man, he is one of the few. And so, rewind, and because there's more to find in that interview, and I'm so excited to clip it up and share it. Played Out Fun is here. I think the model for I will always have an aversion to tokens, because we want to see them work. We want to see them succeed. And with that said, I do think that the model that Played Out Fun is incorporating is compelling. I mean, they've done their homework. It's not something that they just threw out, right? Without any thought, right? They're not just like, oh, let's launch a launch pad, right? The model between everything that he's saying makes sense. Every single thing that he's saying makes sense. So Played Out Fun, it's something to check out and keep an eye on. If you guys aren't following, at least you need to be following Played Out Fun and JT Wald, because it just like, if anyone is going to build the future of this industry, it's these guys, right? That's my mission on Gaming Daily, is to find the Justin Waldrons, to find the Paul Bettners, the Gabriel Laydens, to bring them on, to amplify their message, and spread their message. So that was sick. Yeah, that was a lot of fun as well. Where do we go from here, guys? I want to thank you guys for being here. I guess that is the end of the show, of the stream. You guys are absolute legends. Lord No Face, Steve, I appreciate you. The friction and use case for trade and games is apples and oranges. You might not be wrong about this, Steve. You may not be wrong about this, but like, if there's a way to find a way to bridge that gap, I think that Justin and Played Out Fun are doing incredibly important work at the protocol level, right? At the foundational level. Llama, I saw your question about addressing YouTube gamers' hate on AI and crypto. I wanted to ask it so bad, but I had already gone, a few questions over. And in my mind, like, I asked him, I'm like, hey, like, how do you feel about, your industry peers, like, when they hear that you're doing crypto and AI, like, what's their response? And he's like, listen, dude, when we made Zynga, no one respected us, you know? And it's like, I don't, he's so like, I mean, I don't know, maybe he's just so good with like his framing where, you know, and to me, I heard him saying like, I don't give a fuck what they think, but he's like, you know, very, very politically correct in saying like, no one respected us. And look, $14 billion later, it's like, I don't care what these people think. I'm going to follow what I think, what interests me, where my vision is. And you can just get that sense, man. Like, he really is just following his passions and interests and building where he thinks it's most interesting and compelling and creative. And I wanted to ask him so much more about like the why, like what really inspires him. And we're going to have him on for another show, because like he talks about open source. He talks about, you know, empowering gamers, empowering creators, you know, the financialization element between game studios, gamers, and crypto. And I just consistently get this sense that he like really cares about empowering people, kind of breaking down the walls and breaking down like the gatekeeping, which is exactly what crypto was built on and what brings me into it. So for him to be, you know, building in that direction is really cool. No, I just think, I think he answered it, Llama. I think he's like, dude, I don't care. Like, you know, this is going to happen whether they like it or not. Like, they're going to see it and they will come to it. It's like, you know, he just sees where the future is going. People are going to play these games. The games are memes, and they're going to want to know like what they're going to want to be a part of culture and a part of entertainment. And it's not going to matter AI, crypto, this, like they're just going to follow like what is hot and happening. Just like, you know, that's what kids are doing. What, you know, if you're a kid, like you're just trying to be, you know, a part of the cool trend. You know, you want to meme and joke and do all that stuff. Really great interview. Played out fun. Justin Waldron, absolute legends. I was nervous. I was nervous, guys. I'm like, I don't want Justin to think I suck or I'm dumb. But I think it was a banger interview. I think it went well. Smiling Monster, appreciate you. We saw Mountain Doji and Ice and Dark come in. Lord No Face, appreciate it. Go Celtics, absolutely, Steve. Absolutely, go Celtics. Appreciate you about that one. I know I don't come across as nervous, but like, you know, it's like a duck on water. Like underneath, your legs are going. Guys, that is going to do it for Monday's Gaming Daily Live, brought to you by Yield Guild Games, the best guild, the best publisher in crypto gaming, with games like Waifu Sweeper, Giga Chad Bat, Lowland, and of course the YGG Play token launchpad, game token launchpad. Tomorrow, we're going to have Andrew Campbell, Ziori, if you know, you know, on the show. We don't know. He has been building a platform called Dilem.ai, I think. And it's his solution towards gaming tokens as well. So it'll be very interesting to have him on talking about their approach. I'm looking forward to connecting with him. Wednesday, we are going to have Hantao on, and then Thursday we might have Tim Yoista from Project O. Yeah, we got, dude, I'm bullish on the interviews, Llama. I want to bring, like, I don't want it to just be me yapping. I want to bring the smartest, you know, hardworking builders, the game founders. Like, I really want this show to amplify these people and these messages. And I think that the clip strategy is just working so well. Like, these clips from Justin Waldron are going to do numbers. You know, the clips from Nick Metzler last week was doing really well. My solo clips are doing really well. So I love the live stream. I love chopping it up with you guys every single day, reviewing the news. and staying on top of like what's happening. And, you know, we have a lot of fun on the stream. That's the beauty of live streaming. But then the other part is the interviews and the clips where that's really going to grow the show and amplify the mission and the message of saving crypto gaming and, you know, supporting the gamers and the founders and the games that we have in the space. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, Dayat 2.0, I appreciate you coming in. Appreciate all the love and support, guys. This was a banger. We got the Justin Waldron interview in the can. Dude, okay, last alpha that I have to give you guys. Justin Waldron DM'd me. Like we had a call like last year, and he DM'd me and was like, yo, like, I see what you're doing in the space. Like, you know, good work. Like, let's hop on a call. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, what? I was like, Justin Waldron from Zynga? Like, what? Like, that just goes to show someone at that level is tapped in to the culture and has their finger on the pulse of everything, to where they are reaching out. Like, never get too big for yourself. Never think that, like, you know, like, oh, you know, people should be messaging me. It's like, you want to be tapped into the trenches and connecting with everybody and anybody. Like, Justin Waldron could talk to anybody in the world. He's talking to little old Icy Gaming over here. But that just speaks to his talent, his prowess, his drive to just build and, I don't know, go where things matter. It's really, really cool. Really, really cool. With that said, guys, YGG, Sequence, B3, Soulforge Fusion, AI Rev, the best sponsors in the game. My name is Icy Gaming. This was Gaming Daily Live. We will be back tomorrow. So until then, stay humble, keep gaming, keep having fun, keep dreaming. And I'll see you then, guys. Appreciate you. Love y'all.
These are facts.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness.
My life is an opera. Look at the Oscars. Look at the group.